This is a place for planting, for digging, for harvesting, for relaxing. It's a place to get your hands dirty, but most of all, it's about having fun. And that's what you'll always have when you're in the garden with Doug Oster. You want a green thumb too, don't you? Look what we have here. A brief warm-up brought us not only our normal snowdrops blooming, but double snowdrops, my absolute favorites. I love double anything. And when we see spring bulbs blooming, we should be recording where they're blooming, where they're not blooming, and we're writing it down so we know what to plant and where to plant it in the fall. These are the queen of the garden because they are one of the only things blooming that gets us one step closer to the season. Now let's get in the garden and get some work done. Well, I don't know about you, but I cannot wait to get started in the garden. We're in March, so we're pretty close. Now today we're going to clear out a perennial bed, but we're going to do it in a way that's not going to adversely affect our native pollinators. This is where I keep my tools. One thing good about a mailbox like this, we never get any bills. I've learned over the years from my radio partner and fellow Trib columnist, Jessica Walliser, to leave these perennials up at the end of the season. This is a place of habitat for beneficial insects. But I'm getting to a point here where things are starting to come up. I don't like the way it looks. And so all I'm going to do is cut these down, tie them together, and gently put them on the compost pile. So when these beneficials hatch out, they'll be happy. You guys think that's a good idea? All right. You'll be all right. Stay here. Here's a good example where these daffodils are covered with this old phlox. And I'm not going crazy. I'm just snipping out what I can get. This is why people hate Rose of Sharon, because it makes so many babies. But I have to have Rose of Sharon. My kids played underneath the parent of this tree, and if I have to do a little cutting here in the late winter, that's okay, because this tree means a lot to me. All right. Well, for a short time, this bed doesn't look too bad, but as the daffodils come up, so will the weeds, and another season begins. I use something called jute twine to tie this up because it'll rot down with the compost. We're just going to leave this on top. Nothing else is going to go on top of this. We've got another compost pile that's active over here. And one of the nice things about doing this job was getting down close and seeing what's sprouting, and it's not going to be long. There's lots of cool things sprouting there. We've got another job to do next. Follow me. Well, as you can see, these rhododendrons and azaleas have taken a beating, not this winter, but the last two were killers. And early in the season, I'm giving them their favorite food to try and bring them back. It's called hollytone. It's organic, and it has made a difference over the last couple seasons to bring them back. The deer have not helped our cause on these smaller ones. I'll tell you what, it's fun to be outside, but we're heading back inside for our last job of the day. As soon as I'm done doing this. Well, usually I say, oh, it's great to be inside, but I could have stayed out there all day working. But we have one of my favorite winter jobs, and that is making a windowsill herb planter, and it's so easy. I just got all this stuff at Chapin's greenhouse. The nicest thing is this little dish underneath here that will keep all the water where it's supposed to be, and there's nothing to this. We've got sage, we've got a little bit of purple oregano, some rosemary, some mint, and then my favorite basil for inside. This is called African blue basil, and for some reason, it's the only basil I can get to grow inside on the windowsill. And all we're going to do is start in the corners with these smaller plants and tuck them in here. We've got some planting mix that's already moistened. That's always what we do for containers. And I'm going to finish planting this, and through the magic of video, you'll see the finished product. Well, what do you think? I'm telling you, oh, that basil, that is the smell of summer. But this is only going to live here for one day. I'm taking it into work, and my coworkers and I are going to take care of this. We're going to use all these wonderful herbs to spice up our lunches. For more information about everything we talked about today, along with other columns of pictures and videos, check me out online. Until next week, just going to get this thing watered and maybe run outside, clear off one more perennial bed. How about that? Amaryllis. We'll see you next week.